If you didn't know, there are two little movies coming out this year. Avengers Endgame, the culmination of nearly 15 years and over 20 movies worth of Marvel superhero action. And Godzilla, King of the Monsters, the next installment in a franchise that has been around for 65 years and shows no signs of stopping anytime soon. No big deal, right? The reality is that both these movies are lined up to dominate this summer's box office, with the director of King of the Monsters, Michael Daltrey, even saying that one day it would be great to see the Avengers and Godzilla in the ultimate crossover movie. This won't be the first time that these two god franchises have shared the public attention though. What if we told you that the Avengers and other famous Marvel icons once took on the King of the Monsters? Residents, this is Jacob and let's get to it. Back in 1977, Marvel and Toho agreed to work together on a comic series that would place Godzilla up against some of the stars of the Marvel franchise. From 1977 to 1979, 24 issues of this epic crossover were produced. Written by Doug Moench, drawn by Herb Trimpe, and published by Marvel Comics, this series threw Godzilla into the thick of the Marvel Universe, earning a familiar title for this series, Godzilla, King of the Monsters. The series started off in classic Toho Godzilla style, having Godzilla bursting out of his imprisonment within an iceberg, and then pushing forward on a rampage across not Japan, but the United States. This Godzilla shared many of the classic traits that fans came to be used to from the movies, but there were a few changes in his character. The Godzilla in the movies of that era was shown to be thoughtful, caring, and for the most part, a protector of humanity, while the G-Man that showed up in the Marvel series was more animalistic and less concerned with what was going on around him. But he was in no way just a dumb animal in the series. Throughout this comic, Godzilla faced the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Fantastic Four, a variety of lesser-known Marvel characters, and of course, the Avengers. Spider-Man even had a brief cameo in this series. Marvel superheroes were not the only ones who stood in Godzilla's way, as he also fought countless monsters and even introduced the character Red Ronin, a giant samurai-based robot that went on to have a larger role in the Marvel Universe beyond its stint with the Godzilla series. When the rights to Godzilla ended in 1979, it seemed like the epic collaboration between these two franchises would be done for good. But you can still find multiple references to Godzilla within the decades worth of Marvel comics that followed the series. Marvel even went ahead and modified Godzilla into more of a dragon-like creature named Wani for one of their comic issues to avoid legal issues, but also to keep giving their fans the big green monster. No, not that one, yeah, that one. In 2006, the Godzilla King of the Monsters comic series was reprinted as a paperback collection titled Essential Godzilla King of the Monsters, keeping most of what made the original series classic, but giving it a new black and white look instead of the colored version seen in the original. This entire series ended with Godzilla facing off against the Avengers and the Fantastic Four during the last two issues of the series. Now there's a lot to this two-part story, so we're going to focus on just a few parts of the story to keep things flowing. If this video does well enough, we may go back and cover the entire issue in full detail, but that's up to you guys. We have a glimpse into the office of the one and only J. Jonah Jameson, the editor-in-chief of the Daily Bugle, nagging and being the typical a-hole to one of his co-workers. With his classic cigar in mouth, he doesn't know that the G-Man is right behind him. The sheer force of Godzilla moving sends Jameson's office into a frenzy of flying papers and office supplies. When Jonah decides to stop hiding under his desk, he then goes back to his egomania and orders that all his reporters be hot on the tail of this monster. The Avengers themselves were also in the heat of a battle, but not with Godzilla. Vision, Iron Man, Scarlet Witch, Yellow Jacket, Thor, the Wasp, and Captain America are playing a game of Monopoly. Oh yeah. They do eventually end their game and set out to face Godzilla though. It's said that Godzilla gave the Avengers one of their greatest challenges yet. The sheer size, power, ability, and will of the King of the Monsters was something more than what the typical bad guy in the Marvel Universe was capable of. This doesn't mean that Godzilla was superior to the team, but it did mean he was their equal. Godzilla even took a hit directly to the face from Thor's hammer Mjolnir, and although the description states that it was a level of pain Godzilla had never felt before, the G-Man still managed to send the God of Thunder flying back with just the power of his roar alone. The individual power alone of the Avengers wasn't enough to outdo Godzilla, so a plan had to be made. A plan that has been discussed a lot amongst the Marvel Cinematic Universe fans here lately in regards to a certain place on old Thanos' body and Ant-Man. But this time, a different hole was the destination. The Wasp and the Yellow Jacket then flew up into Godzilla's ear, and were able to send the monster stumbling into the channel of water that was near the battle due to messing up his equilibrium. Godzilla was not done, however, and soon made his way to the Empire State Building. Here's when one of the most epic standoffs takes place between Thor and Godzilla. Both of these gods, so close in power, push from both sides of the iconic skyscraper, one trying to bring it down, the other trying to keep it up. This inside-out tug-of-war takes its toll on the building, and it starts to become structurally damaged. The Avengers see this and decide the only hope in saving the building is to proceed in an all-out blitz attack on the monster. It takes all the Avengers, with the help of the Fantastic Four, giving it all they have to stop Godzilla, and still, they don't even kill the G-Man. The huge attack simply destroys Godzilla's will to press on in his attack, and he decides to retreat back to the oceans, his home. I decided to share this story with you all because I think most fans of Marvel and Godzilla, probably as a whole, don't know that Godzilla was once a part of the Marvel Universe. I've seen some people bickering that King of the Monsters deserves more praise than this year's Marvel movies, and others saying that Endgame is vastly superior to Godzilla. Both of these outlooks are completely ass-backward in my opinion, and although I relate to some of these thoughts, it's never something we should argue over. In a lot of ways, Godzilla and the Avengers are the same, and it's time for superfans of both franchises to come together and enjoy two fantastic movies. Maybe one day we will get that epic Godzilla Avengers movie crossover, but until then, I hope this series from 40 years ago will hold over you the Marvel fans and you the Godzilla fans. Make sure to go out and watch both of these movies, and if your friends ask you which fight you want to see next in the theaters, maybe mention Godzilla vs. the Avengers. If you liked today's video and want to see more, make sure to show your support by liking the video and subscribing to become a resident of Dangerville today.